Cheers, dudes. So, I just got back from watching the Konosuba film. We in Germany got it early. Just this once, guys. Just this once. We are ahead of you. Just this once, and I still haven't seen Promare, but just this once we get one early. And I'm gonna start off spoiler free. And the first thing I'm gonna say is, yeah, it's pretty fucking good. I wouldn't say it's about on par with the quality of the rest of the show. And it did feel like it was a very faithful adaptation to the source material. Like, I haven't read the light novels, but I could tell that the quality was about in line. Maybe a bit raunchier, maybe a bit edgier, and I'm pretty certain that, that it clearly was a bit edgier. But I didn't mind at all, because, you know, we're familiar with how the world logic in Konosuba functions. It's a really outright, provocative, dirty, raunchy, you know, all this stuff. So I felt like it was not only in line with the quality of the rest of the show, but also like expanded on the characters in a meaningful way, really latched itself onto the world and showed some different new facets of it and new sides of it, and really ran our familiar and beloved cast through new trials and tribulations within the same sort of realm. Just to give you the faintest impression of what happened in a spoiler-free manner, it is that we get to visit Megumin's tribe, Megumin's people, the Crimson Demons. We get to visit them. So after we've seen Aqua's family, Aqua's people in her town, now we get to see Megumin's homeland. So I guess I'll start off by talking a bit about my relationship to Konosuba. I've always felt it lied in a very interesting place as far as comedy shows, comedy anime, and also fantasy anime goes. So anime is, in general, when it comes to fantasy, I think a pretty poor place to look, because this might be a bit off-putting for most, but I'm not particularly fond of most fantasy inherently. And additionally, anime is usually pretty bad about having its fantasy be merely like pure sort of wish fulfillment, meandering shows that are just kind of pandering, where you kind of get, like for example, Zero no Tsukaima is taking itself way too seriously for being just a blatant and poor harem show in a very good-looking setting. And I have to say this again, like, I love the setting in Zero no Tsukaima, but really everything about the characters was just fucking yeeted away. Absolutely useless. So I've always felt like, okay, what if I want the traditional sort of fantasy vibe, but I don't want it to be shit? How can I indulge this thing, which is so overindulgent in most anime? And oddly enough, ironically, I got to enjoy it through one of the most indulgent ones of those. So Konosuba falls exactly in the point where we needed a fantasy show that was kind of like enjoyable to watch, like a feel-good time, or like a fantasy world, whatever, cool characters being heroes and so on. But also, we are just too aware of the meta of this in anime. We are too aware of the wish fulfillment aspects. We are too aware of all the cliches and tropes. And Konosuba does away with our worries and absolves itself, in a sense, by its amazing comedy, by its irreverent self-awareness, by its approach to fantasy in itself. So we get the amazing world, we get the nice music, we get the even relaxing, calm moments of the party hanging out and like really getting closer and developing bonds and so on. But we all get this indulgence while completely being absolved by it, with this humor, with this self-referential sarcasm, with this constant appeal to absurdity and constant over-the-top comedy. It really works. It really works well, and it fills a niche that is both at the same time one of the funniest shows you can get in anime, but also it provides this exact thing you want from anime fantasy, while at the same time mocking the thing you don't want from anime fantasy. and ironically providing both of the perfect enjoyments of those things. So I've always said Konosuba is kind of like a feel-good show, even though always some shit happens to the characters and they suffer and they scream and cry a lot, but in the end it will always be okay. They will always be hardworking. They will always kind of save the day. It will always be fine at the end, because it's just such a lighthearted show, and really this relaxing attitude of just kind of hanging out with these lovable characters who are, despite being shitty, all extremely lovable, I think. And this is absolutely the vibe Konosuba, like this niche Konosuba held perfectly, without any show that I can compare to the appeal, I guess. And I should say, I guess the biggest praise for the movie is that it stayed true to this legacy in all ways. Absolutely everywhere. I could have just imagined this being like cut and spliced into multiple episodes and released as like a half of season 3. Easily. Just that sometimes it showed that it was a movie by having some more well animated scenes that are really much more outgoing. There were some few highlights where the animation could really shine, but there were also some low points. So I'm not gonna praise the animation like to high heavens and so on. It really wasn't that amazing, that out there. So, well, I gotta give them credit for the consistent booby physics, because, yeah, those were still everywhere, and those were possibly more animated than in any other part of the franchise, which I'm fine with. I like that. I can enjoy that. Okay, I guess if you're looking forward to the movie, and if you don't want me to spoil anything of it, let me just say it's good. Go watch it. It feels like it's a main part of the thing, not just some filler franchise movie that's kind of like just there as a cash grab. It is quality material. It really advances the characters and their relationships, and it does provide all you want, I guess. I hope it provides what you want. I can only say it provided what I wanted. Many good laughs were had, and with this, I think I'm gonna head over into the spoiler zone. So tune out if you really don't want any spoilers, but if you don't care, I will just now talk about some of my favorite moments and things I liked. So, see you after the sip. Dark beer, by the way. It's pretty good. So, if you've seen the trailer, the entire thing about Union wanting Kazuma's child is total fake out. It's just fake. It's resolved in like 5 minutes. It's fake. It sets the stage, because the whole stage is that Kazuma is kind of, and the subtitles have been in German, so what would be the word? Like, he thought he would be popular with the women in this in this moment, because the Union came and said, yeah, have my child. He was like, yeah, okay, I have to take my duty to bestow a child upon you, basically. So he was all overacting like he usually does. And it's a fake out. It's just kind of a device to get the whole party going over to Megumin's homeland, where the Crimson Demons dwell, and we learn a lot about their interactions. They have some really funny traits, like, for example, all of them are Chunis. Union seems to be one of the only ones who's an exception, who is not like overly Shuni. Everyone else is a Chuni, and it's perfect. There's this one scene where Kazuma greets the Crimson Demons greet the heroes, and Kazuma just fully embraces it and then does like the Genyu Force poses and so on, and delivers his own little introduction. And the main guy from the Crimson Demons is like, holy shit, someone reacts to our introduction, to our greeting. You're good, kid. Pretty good vibes already. Already getting into it. So, and then, I'm gonna recap the entire thing here. I'm just gonna say some cool things and some, well, maybe not the cool things. There's something. Let's get there. But we also meet Megumin's parents and little sister. And yeah, little sister. As if the lolicons weren't already mad enough about Megumin as is. Now she has a little sister. Well, go figure. Of course, the movie gets this, plays with it. Yeah, naturally. And they're poor. They're fucking poor. As soon as they hear that Kazuma has got this huge deal, that he's like gonna be rich and a millionaire, they're trying to hook up Megumin and Kazuma. And this is another main theme of the film, I would say, the relationship between Megumin and Kazuma. Because they're getting real close in this film. Like, by the end of it, yeah, they're a ship. They're gonna be the main couple. We got some strong indications here. It's gonna happen. If you ship someone else, well, rip. It's them. It's not. Nothing happened. Don't you worry. Nothing happened yet. But we know. We know. So, this feeds also into this motif that I talked about of Kazuma thinking he's a womanizer in this one. And it will happen quite a few more times. But, you know, I'm trying to talk about this as if it had like huge themes. If anything, the huge theme in this one was kind of to put trust in the people around you in your party to really see their strengths and generally like go out there and have like their backs. It's not astounding. You don't go to Konosuba for like anything else but this anyway. So you go for it for the comedy, for the amazing characters, for the all around like brilliant, funny aesthetic and comical interactions. And that's basically all you need. But it's really nice that they had some flashing out here where you really saw their cooperation. You really saw them grow together as characters. You really saw like how they had each other's backs, and when Kazuma had a huge plan by the end to basically sacrifice himself to save everyone else. I'll get to that. Everyone has his back. They all cooperate. They all have to pitch in to make it work. Even Wiz and I forgot his name, the mask guy who's working in Wiz's shop by now. So what happens? Well, they are hanging out in the Crimson Demon City, and the one of the Demon Lord's generals attacks. And this time it's a very attractive, big-bosomed, angry lady. And boy, is she angry and big-bosomed. That's pretty good. In her first encounter, Kazuma just scares her away by like being like, I have been the hero who's slain the Dullahan, who's slain the amorphous slime, I have slain the destroyer, the moving fortress, blah blah blah. I am Mitsurugi, like the hero from season 1, and she runs away. But later she comes back, they encounter each other again, and it comes out that Kazuma is a weakling, he's a wimp. And what she does is she captures him. Between her big milkies. And he does enjoy this. This is also where the conflict of the movie comes into play. Because stuck between the big milkies, he looks at his party and he's getting really angry at them. Like, oh, you treated me like shit. And yeah, you useless goddess. And you blah, 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 darkness, fuck you. And Megumin, why you do this to me, blah, blah, blah. All these kind of conflicts arise because he's not gotten enough attention from them till now. And he's like really stuck in the boobies. He's like fondling them. He's all in there like, oh, yeah. And the the mean, angry lady likes it quite a bit. Now, I mentioned this movie is quite edgy. This lady with the big honkers, where Kazuma is currently stuck in... Give me a second. This lady with the big honkers where Kazuma is currently stuck turns out to be a chimera who assembled herself out of like absorbing other life forms and machinery and so on. And as it turns out, originally she was a dude. We have a bona fide trans character with a penis. This is where it kind of gets edgy, because Kazuma's first reaction upon feeling the penis rubbing against his backside isn't positive. It's kind of just a one-off joke, but I guess I'll throw out the warning. If this kind of stuff would upset you, just I would genuinely recommend pay it no mind. I don't think it's harmful. Like, never is it played as like, that's disgusting. It's just kind of like Kazuma doesn't like it, you know. Nobody shames this character for it. Nobody like hates them for it. She's just all around, like, it's trans character. She's a woman. It did, the movie accepted as such, and we get a joke out of it. So I guess sometimes you gotta be a bit self-depreciating, I guess. So she takes Kazuma with her, still stuck between the boobies. Takes him to a seal where there's like an old tract where there's a sealed weapon that she wants to get. And Kazuma's the only one, or rather Kazuma, since he's come from Japan, instantly figures out the mechanism, because it's just a controller and you have to insert the Konami code to open the door. So he would insert the Konami code, and because he's an idiot, he does it. Like, he fails, he fucks up. He unleashes, he opens the seal and unleashes the weapon, basically. But he's clever boy. As she opens the door and like steps down the stairs and is like, oh, it's fucking dark in here, what's up? And he's just kicking her in the back and she falls down the stairs and he closes the door again. Well, good idea, Kazuma, but didn't work. She got the weapon and boom, breaks out, attacks the entire city, destroys almost everything. It's absolutely fucking devastation everywhere. Well, Kazuma reunites with the party, and the big resolution to the whole thing basically is they need to have each other's back. Megumin's explosion is shown, Yunyun shows that she's one of the most powerful wizards in that town. We get all these build-ups to this ultimate climax of them all pitching in, helping together to defeat the thing. And ultimately, and this is where we get to the sacrifice plot, ultimately Kazuma has to stop her somehow. And realizing that she was really like kind of tender towards him, Kazuma accepts that, yes, we can destroy her if I trick her. And he goes to her and says, embrace me, take me. And she, now being giant after having absorbed the gigantic fucking weapon, and by the way, the souls of the dollar and the slime, she's now gigantic, fucking kaiju, monster style, everything, destroying everything, absolutely powerful, Dark Souls boss here, even above that. And she blushes, she takes him to her, sticks him into her chest, like literally like into the chest. His arms are stuck in the boobies, like literally physically in the boobie, like he's at the cross like Jesus, with his body stuck in her upper body. And it's really fucking interesting imagery. And he does this to destabilize her defenses. He sweet talks her while the others are preparing a big ass spell to blast at her. And yeah, this is what saves the day, I guess. He has to again, like, trust his fellows, sacrifice himself, and so on. Has to respect Megumin and gets closer to her anyways. Like, they had this one very almost borderline romantic scene where Kazuma was like walking in the circles, because Megumin's mother, realizing that Megumin would be able to hook up with Kazuma, locked them in Megumin's bedroom, and Megumin was in bed, and then Kazuma was like rocking in circles around them. Should I grab her? Shouldn't I grab her? Because if I grab her, then blah blah blah. It's cold. I will get a cold if I don't get under the blanket, and if I get under the blankets and not grab her, everyone will think I grabbed her, so I will get shit anyways. So if I get shit anyways, why shouldn't I just grab her? And he was like walking in cycles, going insane, thinking about this shit, and ultimately, he decides to get out of the blankie, and he doesn't do anything. He just looks at her. And she wakes up, blah, blah, blah. The next night, the same game happens again, but this time, he throws the window, because Megumin jumped out the window the first time and just escaped. This time, he throws the window, and what happens is, yeah, it's cold, just come to me, Megumin. And she's like, oh, well, okay. And she comes and cuddles, and it's a really cute moment, and I guess, yeah, it's a bit edgy to get there, but ultimately he didn't do anything without consent, and she came to him and, you know, was cute. So, and then the whole demon lord attacking shit happened, so nothing came of it. It was just this one theme, and ultimately in the end, Megumin is like, hey, I want to be a useful wizard too. Kazuma, can you press on my skill sheet the button that I get the high level spells? And Kazuma's like, don't you want your explosions? And she's like, please press the button. And he's like, mischievous, like, and he presses the button, but it's a different button because he just leveled up her explosion and tells her, come on, do one more for me, do one more explosion. She's like, oh well, one more, here we go, explosion. And she's very happy to see that her explosion is much more overpowered and dumb than before. And she was very happy to see that Kazuma was like getting her, that he understood. And that's basically the conclusion of the movie, that he didn't want her to be more, let's say, useful. He wants her to be herself. He likes her how she is. And I think that's one of the subtle ways in which Konosuba can like really be genuine with its characters. I always shipped Kazuma and Darkness, but hey, I don't mind. This works out really well. Well, this explosion then has like a smoke cloud in the shape of a big heart at the horizon while the others have a picnic. And this is, you can't be much more clear with your symbolism in terms of what's going on between these characters. So, they're canonical couple now. You can't do anything about this. I'm sorry. Cheers. So if anything, this movie made me really want to rewatch the series again. And lets me hope for season 3. Final words. It's pretty fucking good. You will laugh a bit. You will laugh a bit. It's a good time. There are plenty more jokes that I didn't mention, plenty more interesting little scenes, plenty interesting more interactions, but, you know, just to give you an impression, these were my first thoughts on it. So I hope you will also soon get to see the movie in a couple of months. Now to fucking upload this.